Welcome to our continuing series, Fine Poetry, Poems that Touch Deeper Chords. Fernando Pessoa. Pessoa is a poet of whom I had no previous knowledge. He is number 8 in Ranker's Best Poets of the 20th Century, a most questionable ranking. But I read most of his poems and feel that he should be included in our fine poetry site. Wikipedia has an extensive biography of Pessoa, which I recommend reading. Briefly, he was a Portuguese poet, writer, literary critic, translator, publisher, and philosopher. Described as one of the most significant literary figures of the 20th century and one of the greatest poets in the Portuguese language. He also wrote in and translated from English and French. Pessoa was a prolific writer, and not only under his own name, for he dreamed up approximately 75 others. He did not call them pseudonyms, because he felt that did not capture their true, independent intellectual life, and instead called them heteronyms. These imaginary figures sometimes held unpopular or extreme views. Pessoa translated a number of Portuguese books into English. He also translated into Portuguese the Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, the short stories The Theory and the Hound, The Roads We Take, and Georgia's Ruling by O. Henry, and the poems The Raven, Annabel Lee, and Ulalume by Edgar Allan Poe, who, along with Walt Whitman, strongly influenced him. In addition, Pessoa translated into Portuguese a number of books by leading theosophists, such as C.W. Ledbetter and Annie Besant. In 1912-14, while living with his aunt, Annika, and cousins, Pessoa took part in semi-spiritualist sessions that were carried out at home, but he was considered a delaying element by the other members of the session. Pessoa's interest in spiritualism was truly awakened in the second half of 1915, while translating theosophist books. This was further deepened in the end of March 1916, when he suddenly started having experiences where he became a medium, which were revealed through automatic writing. He wrote an impressive letter to his aunt, then living in Switzerland with her daughter and son-in-law, in which he describes this mystery case that surprised him. Besides automatic writing, Pessoa stated also that he had astral or ethereal visions, and he was able to see magnetic auras similar to radiographic images. He felt, quote, more curiosity than fear, end quote, but was respectful towards this phenomenon and asked secrecy because, quote, there is no advantage but a lot of disadvantages, end quote, in speaking about this. Mediumship exerted a strong influence in Pessoa's writings, who felt, quote, sometimes suddenly being owned by something else, end quote. Or have a very curious sensation, end quote, in the right arm, which was, quote, lifted into air without his will. Looking in the mirror, Pessoa saw several times what appeared to be the heteronyms, his face fading out and being replaced by one of a bearded man or another one, 4 men in total. Hate you, Christ, I do not. Hate you, Christ, I do not, or seek. I believe in you as in the other gods, your elders. I count you as neither more nor less than they are, merely newer. I do hate, yes, and calmly abhor people who seek you above the other gods, your equals. I seek you where you are, not higher than them, not lower, yourself merely. Say God needed perhaps, because there was none like you, one more in the pantheon, nothing more, not purer, because the whole was complete with gods, except you. Take care, exclusive idolater of Christ. Life is multiple, all days different from each other, and only as multiple shall we be with reality and alone. I don't know how many souls I have. I don't know how many souls I have. I've changed at every moment. I always feel like a stranger. I've never seen or found myself. From being so much, I have only soul. A man who has soul has no calm. A man who sees is just what he sees. A man who feels is not who he is. Attentive to what I am and see, I become them and stop being I. Each of my dreams and each desire belongs to whoever had it, not me. I am my own landscape. I watch myself journey, various, mobile, and alone. Here, where I am, I can't feel myself. That's why I read, as a stranger, my being, as if it were pages, not knowing what will come, and forgetting what has passed. I note in the margin of my reading what I thought I felt. Rereading, I wonder, was that me? God knows, because He wrote it. Sonnet 18. Indefinite space, which, by co-substance night, in one black mystery, two void mysteries blends. The stray stars, whose innumerable light repeats one mystery till conjecture ends. The stream of time, known by birth bursting bubbles, the gulf of silence, empty even of naught, thought's high-walled maze, which the outed owner troubles, because the string's lost and the plan forgot. When I think on this, and that here I stand, the thinker of these thoughts, emptily wise, holding up to my thinking my thing hand, and looking at it with thought-alien eyes, the prayer of my wonder looketh past the universal darkness, lone and vast. Sonnet 20. When, in the widening circle of rebirth, to a new flesh my travelled soul shall come, and try again the unremembered earth, with the old sadness for the immortal home, shall I revisit these same differing fields, and cull the old new flowers with the same sense, that some small breath of foiled remembrance yields, of more age than my days in this pretense. Shall I again regret strange faces lost, of which the present memory is forgot, and but in unseen bulks of vagueness tossed, out of the closed sea and black night of thought? Were thy face one, what sweetness wilt not be, though by blind feeling to remember thee. Sonnet 22. My soul is a stiff pageant, man by man, of some Egyptian art, than Egypt older, found in some tomb whose rite no guess can scan, where all things else to colored dust did moulder. Whate'er its sense may mean, its age is twin to that of priesthoods whose feet stood near God, when knowledge was so great that 'twas a sin, and man's mere soul too man for its abode. But when I ask what means that pageant eye, and would look at it suddenly, I lose the sense I had of seeing it, nor can try again to look, nor hath my memory a use that seems recalling, save that it recalls an emptiness of having seen those walls. And the last poem, The Herdsman. I'm a herdsman of a flock. The sheep are my thoughts, and all my thoughts are all sensations. I think with my eyes and my ears, and my hands and feet, and nostrils and mouth. To think a flower is to see and smell it. To eat a fruit is to sense its savor. And that is why, when I feel sad, in a day of heat, because of so much joy, and lay me down in the grass to rest, and close my sun-warmed eyes, I feel my whole body relaxed in reality, and know the whole truth, and am happy.